Let me ask you a simple question. What time did you sleep last night? Because believe me, the quality of your future is quietly decided every night when the world goes silent. Stay with me till the end. The last few lessons might completely change how you look at your nights and your life. Most people think success is built in the morning. They say wake up early, work hard, hustle more, but very few people ask a deeper question. What did you do the night before? Many of us go to bed tired but not peaceful. Our bodies are on the bed, but our minds are scrolling, worrying, replaying conversations, chasing validation. And then we wonder why mornings feel heavy, unfocused, and rushed. See, life doesn't reset in the morning. Life continues from the night before. And tonight, quietly, invisibly, you are preparing the direction of your tomorrow. Let me walk you through 7 connected lessons, like steps of an inner journey, because if you understand this, you will never treat your nights casually again. Most people believe priorities are decided by big decisions, career choices, relationships, major goals. But in reality, priorities reveal themselves in the smallest moments, especially at night, when the world quiets down, notifications slow, and expectations fall away. What you choose to do in that final hour of the day becomes a silent confession of what truly matters to you. You see, during the day, we are all performers. We respond to deadlines, responsibilities, people, and pressure. We do many things not because we want to, but because we have to. But at night, when no one is watching, when there is no applause and no accountability, that is when your real values step forward. Some people say family is important, but their nights are spent endlessly scrolling. Some say health matters, but their sleep is sacrificed. Casually, some say peace is a priority, but they carry chaos into bed. The night never lies, it simply reflects. If your nights are constantly rushed, overstimulated, and careless, it's not because you don't know better, it's because something else has quietly taken priority: distraction, comfort, or escape. And there's no judgment in realizing this. Awareness is not about guilt, it's about clarity. Think about this. You can't live a focused life with unfocused nights. You can't build a disciplined future with undisciplined evenings. And you can't expect clarity in the morning if your night was spent feeding confusion. What you do before sleep is like setting the direction of a ship before the journey begins. The ship will move all night, but where it goes depends on the direction set in silence. Many people tell me, I'll start improving my life tomorrow. But tomorrow never starts in the morning. It starts the night before. When you choose rest over restlessness, reflection over our reaction, intention over impulse, you are silently voting for the future you want without announcing it to anyone. And here's something interesting. The mind remembers the last emotion of the day more strongly than the first emotion of the morning. That means if you end your day with anxiety, comparison, or irritation, your mind carries that emotional residue into sleep and then into tomorrow. But if you end your day with calm, gratitude, or awareness, your nervous system resets differently. Your inner compass aligns. This is why ancient cultures place so much importance on how the day ends. Evening prayers, silence, reflection, storytelling, these weren't rituals of control. They were practices of alignment. They ensured that life didn't drift unconsciously. But modern life has done something strange. We protect our mornings aggressively, alarms, routines, productivity hacks, but we leave our nights completely unguarded. Anything can enter. Any content, any emotion, any chaos. And then we wonder why life feels scattered. Let me say this gently. If your night has no structure, your life will eventually lose direction. Structure doesn't mean rigidity. It means intention. It means asking yourself one honest question before sleep. Is what I'm doing right now serving the life I say I want? That single question, asked consistently, has the power to transform a human being. Because once you become conscious of your nights, you naturally become conscious of your days. You start choosing better, not forcefully but naturally. Priorities stop being motivational slogans and start becoming lived values. And the most beautiful part, you don't need to change everything at once. Just change how you end your day. Protect the last hour like it matters, because it does. That hour is the seed of tomorrow, and life always grows in the direction of the seeds we plant quietly. When you learn to respect your nights, life slowly starts respecting your efforts, not magically, not instantly, but deeply, steadily, and truthfully. And this awareness naturally leads us to the next realization. Because once priorities are exposed, the next question becomes, what exactly are we feeding our mind before sleep? The human mind is like soil. Whatever you plant in it, especially before sleep, begins to grow quietly without asking for permission. Most people underestimate this because they think influence only happens through effort. But some of the deepest influence happens through repetition, and the night is when repetition sinks in the fastest. Before sleeping, the mind is not analytical, it is absorbent. Logical filters soften, defenses go down. This is why the last thing you consume before sleep doesn't just stay as information, it becomes an impression. If you fill your mind with noise, conflict, comparison, or endless stimulation at night, it doesn't end when you close your eyes. The body may rest, but the mind continues processing. Thoughts replay. Emotions linger. Images echo. And by morning, you wake up tired. Not because you didn't sleep enough hours, but because your mind never truly rested. Many people say, I don't know why I feel anxious for no reason. But there is always a reason. The mind remembers what the heart tries to forget. When you scroll through other people's lives late at night, the subconscious starts comparing silently. When you consume negative news, your nervous system prepares for danger. When you watch content filled with aggression, drama, or sarcasm, your inner world becomes tense. Even if you tell yourself it's just entertainment, the subconscious doesn't understand jokes, irony, or casual viewing. It only understands patterns. That is why what you feed your mind at night quietly shapes how you speak to yourself during the day. Your self-talk, confidence, patience, and emotional stability are not random traits. They are cultivated states. There is a reason why some people wake up hopeful and calm, while others wake up irritated and heavy, even if both slept for the same number of hours. One protected their inner space before sleep, the other didn't. Ancient wisdom always encouraged stories, chants, prayers, and reflection in the evening, not because the night was dangerous, but because the mind was open. It was a sacred window. Whatever entered at that time was treated with care. Today, we have replaced that care with convenience. We allow algorithms to decide our emotional diet before sleep. We let strangers' opinions shape our inner narrative. And then we wonder why clarity feels rare. Let me tell you something important. Discipline is not just about waking up early or working hard. Discipline is also about choosing what deserves access to your mind when you are most vulnerable. And vulnerability is not weakness, it is openness. The question is, what are you allowing into that openness? Even 5 minutes of conscious input before sleep can change everything. Reading something uplifting, listening to a calm voice, sitting quietly with your breath, remembering one good moment from the day. These small acts don't feel dramatic, but they rewire emotional memory. Your subconscious doesn't need motivation, it needs direction. When you consistently end your day with calm awareness instead of stimulation, something beautiful happens. Your thoughts slow down, emotional digestion improves, sleep becomes deeper, and mornings feel less forced. Over time, you begin to notice a subtle shift. You react less, reflect more. You become less impulsive, more intentional. This is not because you tried harder, but because your inner environment changed. Remember, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your mental conditioning. And nighttime conditioning is the most powerful of all. So tonight, ask yourself gently, what am I feeding my mind before sleep? Is it nourishing me or numbing me? This awareness naturally leads us to the next realization, be. Because once the mind is overstimulated at night, the first thing that begins to collapse is not productivity. It is discipline itself. People often talk about discipline as if it is a heroic act. Waking up at 5 a.m., following strict routines, pushing the body and mind beyond comfort. But very few people realize where discipline actually breaks. It doesn't break in the morning, it breaks quietly the night before. Late nights are rarely about necessity. Most of the time, they are about negotiation. Just one more episode. Just 5 more minutes. I deserve this. And every time we negotiate with ourselves and lose, something small but important erodes inside us. It's not sleep that is stolen first, it is self-trust. When you tell yourself, I'll go to bed on time, and then don't, the mind takes note. Not consciously, but subtly. Over time, this pattern creates an inner message, my words don't matter. And when your own mind stops taking your promises seriously, motivation starts awakening from the roots. Late nights create slow mornings. Slow mornings create rushed decisions. Rushed decisions create frustration. And frustration slowly turns into self-criticism. None of this happens suddenly. That's why it's dangerous. People often say I lack motivation, but motivation is rarely the real problem. The real problem is broken discipline, caused by repeated late nights that drain willpower. You see, discipline is not willpower. Willpower is limited. Discipline is rhythm. When you respect your natural rhythms, sleep, rest, silence, your energy begins to support your goals instead of fighting them. Late nights confuse the body's internal clock. Hormones responsible for focus, mood, and decision-making become imbalanced. The mind becomes foggy. And then we try to compensate with caffeine, noise, and pressure. Life starts feeling forced. And when life feels forced, joy disappears. There's something deeply spiritual about sleeping on time. It's an act of humility. T says, I respect the design I was given. It acknowledges that you are not a machine, but a living system that thrives on balance. Discipline built on punishment never lasts. Discipline built on self-respect does. When you go to bed on time consistently, you're not just improving sleep, you're restoring integrity between intention and action. And integrity is the foundation of confidence. People who are disciplined don't necessarily work harder than others, they simply leak less energy. They don't spend their mornings recovering from their nights. And here's something most people don't realize. The mind loves order. When your sleep is regular, your thoughts become more organized. When your thoughts are organized, emotions stabilize. And when emotions stabilize, life decisions improve. Late nights don't just make you tired, they make you emotionally reactive. That's why people snap more easily, overthink more deeply, and feel overwhelmed more often when their sleep is irregular. The mind, already exhausted, struggles to process life gracefully. If you want consistency in your habits, protect consistency in your nights. And no, this doesn't mean becoming rigid or boring. It means being intentional. It means understanding that every night you stay up unnecessarily, you're borrowing energy from tomorrow. With interest, sooner or later, that debt demands repayment. True discipline is quiet. It doesn't announce itself. It shows up as small, repeated choices that align with long-term well-being. Going to bed on time is one of the most underrated forms of self-discipline, yet one of the most powerful. When discipline is restored at night, mornings become lighter, effort feels natural, focus improves, and you stop fighting yourself. But discipline alone is still not enough, because even disciplined people suffer when they carry emotional weight into sleep. And that brings us to the next realization, because the night was never meant for carrying burdens. It was meant for closure. One of the greatest mistakes people make is carrying the entire day into the night. The body lies down, the lights go off, but the mind keeps walking, replaying conversations, revisiting mistakes, arguing with people who aren't even present. Sleep becomes a battlefield instead of a sanctuary. The night was never designed for emotional storage. It was designed for release. Yet most people don't know how to close their day. They move from task to task, from noise to silence, without a pause in between. And that sudden silence doesn't bring peace. It brings everything they've been avoiding. Unresolved thoughts don't disappear when ignored. They wait. That is why many people say, "I'm tired, but I can't sleep." The exhaustion is physical, but the unrest is emotional. The mind is still holding on. Holding on to anger drains more energy than work. Holding on to regret steals more sleep than stress. The night gently asks us a question. What are you willing to let go of today? Closure doesn't mean pretending nothing hurt. It means acknowledging that carrying pain into sleep doesn't heal it. It multiplies it. When you replay negative moments before sleep, your nervous system relives them as if they're happening again. The body doesn't know the difference between memory and reality. This is why forgiveness is not just a moral idea, it is emotional hygiene. Forgiving someone before sleep doesn't mean approving their behavior, it means choosing peace over poison. It means deciding that your inner world matters more than your ego's need to be right. Even forgiving yourself is essential. Many people punish themselves mentally at night. I should have done better. Why did I say that? I always mess things up. This inner criticism doesn't create growth. It creates fear. Growth comes from reflection, not rumination. Reflection asks, what did I learn today? Rumination asks, what's wrong with me? One leads to wisdom, the other leads to anxiety. The night is a sacred pause, a bridge between who you were today and who you'll become tomorrow. If you fill that bridge with emotional weight, you cross it exhausted. A simple practice can change this. Before sleeping, consciously close the chapters of the day. Mentally say, today is complete. Even if everything wasn't perfect, completion brings peace. Completion doesn't require perfection. It requires acceptance. When you learn to close your day intentionally, sleep deepens. Dreams soften. The mind resets. And you wake up lighter. Not because life changed overnight, but because you stopped dragging yesterday forward. Most emotional fatigue is not caused by what happens to us, but by how long we hold on to it. The night teaches us impermanence. Today ends. Tomorrow begins. When you resist this natural rhythm, suffering increases. When you align with it, healing begins. People who sleep peacefully are not those with problem-free lives. They are those who have learned the art of release. And here's the beautiful truth. When you let go at night, clarity returns in the morning. Decisions feel simpler. Emotions feel manageable. Life feels less heavy. But to truly release, another ingredient is essential: silence. Because without silence, we never hear what we are carrying. And without hearing it, we cannot put it down. That brings us gently to the next realization. the power of silence at night and how it reconnects you with the part of yourself that knows the way. Silence has become uncomfortable for many people, not because silence is empty, but because it reveals. During the day, noise protects us from ourselves. Conversations, notifications, work, and entertainment create a constant hum that keeps deeper thoughts at a distance. But at night, when the noise fades, the truth steps closer. This is why many people instinctively reach for their phones the moment the world becomes quiet, not out of habit alone, but out of avoidance. Silence forces us to meet ourselves, and not everyone is ready for that meeting. But silence is not the enemy. Silence is the teacher. The night offers a rare gift, undisturbed awareness, no demands, no roles, no performance, just you and your inner landscape. When you sit in even a few moments of silence before sleep, something subtle shifts. The mind begins to slow. Thoughts lose their urgency. You start noticing what you've been carrying all day. Silence doesn't shout, it whispers, and those whispers often contain guidance we've been ignoring. Many people search for direction through constant thinking, but clarity doesn't come from thinking more. It comes from listening better. Silence sharpens listening. When you give yourself quiet time at night, you reconnect with your conscience. Not the voice of fear, not the voice of social conditioning, but the calm inner voice that knows what matters. This voice doesn't criticize, it gently points. Even 5 minutes of silent sitting, without music, without a screen, without distraction, can realign you. It allows the nervous system to settle and the mind to breathe. This is why spiritual traditions emphasize evening silence, not as a rule, but as nourishment. Silence helps the mind digest life, just like rest helps the body digest food. Without silence, emotions remain undigested. They sit heavy inside us, showing up later as irritability, anxiety, or restlessness. Silence also humbles the ego. In quiet moments, we realize how little control we truly have, and strangely, that realization brings peace. When the need to manage everything drops, surrender becomes easier. People often say, "I don't have time to sit quietly." But the truth is, people who don't make time for silence often end up spending more time managing chaos. Silence doesn't take time. It gives time. It creates space between stimulus and response. It softens reactivity. It deepens presence. And slowly, it reshapes how you experience life. At night, silence prepares the mind for rest and the soul for renewal. It's like clearing the mental desk before leaving the office. If you don't, everything waits for you the next morning. Unfinished, overwhelming. But when silence becomes part of your night, sleep feels more like surrender and less like escape. You fall asleep aware and distracted. And awareness is powerful. An aware person doesn't live on autopilot. They notice patterns. They correct gently. They grow consciously. Silence also builds emotional courage. When you stop running from yourself, you stop fearing yourself. You realize that your thoughts are not threats, they are signals. This realization brings self-trust, and once self-trust develops, the heart naturally opens to something deeper, gratitude, because when the mind is quiet, it finally notices what has been supporting it all along. That brings us to the next realization, why gratitude at night has the power to reprogram your emotional life completely. Most people don't end their day consciously. They collapse into sleep mentally exhausted, emotionally cluttered, and subtly dissatisfied. Even on good days, the mind has a strange habit of remembering what went wrong instead of what went right. This tendency, if left unchecked, slowly rewires the way we experience life. That is why gratitude at night is not just a positive habit, it is a powerful act of emotional realignment. The last emotion you carry into sleep has a disproportionate influence on your inner world. If that emotion is complaint, the mind learns to search for lack. If it is gratitude, the mind learns to recognize abundance. Gratitude doesn't deny difficulty, it reframes perspective. Even on the hardest days, something supported you, a breath, a meal, a kind word, the strength to endure. Gratitude trains the mind to notice these quiet supports instead of obsessing over what is missing. And when you practice gratitude before sleep, something remarkable happens. The nervous system relaxes, the heart softens, sleep deepens. This is not poetry, it's biology. Gratitude reduces stress hormones and signals safety to the body. A grateful mind doesn't stay alert for danger, it allows rest. Many people struggle with anxiety at night because their mind is scanning for problems. Gratitude gently interrupts that turn. It tells the mind, for now, you are safe. And safety is the foundation of deep sleep. But gratitude also works on a deeper level. It reshapes identity. People who end their day with gratitude slowly stop seeing themselves as victims of life and start seeing themselves as participants in it. Responsibility replaces resentment, appreciation replaces entitlement, and entitlement is one of the greatest sources of unhappiness. When we expect life to always go our way, frustration becomes inevitable. Gratitude lowers unrealistic expectations and raises inner contentment. A beautiful way to practice this is to recall 3 things before sleep. Not grand achievements, but simple moments. A peaceful cup of tea, a conversation that felt honest, a task completed with sincerity. These small acknowledgements anchor the mind in reality. And reality, when seen clearly, is often kinder than our fears suggest. Gratitude also cleans emotional residue. It doesn't allow one negative moment to define the entire day. It restores balance. It reminds you that life is layered, not black and white. People who practice gratitude regularly don't become passive. They become resilient. They face challenges with steadiness instead of bitterness. And here's something deeply spiritual. Gratitude is a form of humility. It recognizes that not everything in life is self-created, that many blessings arrive through grace, support, and timing beyond our control. This humility invites peace. When you sleep with gratitude, you surrender the illusion of control. You accept life as it is, while still aspiring for better. This balance is rare and powerful. Over time, gratitude at night changes how you wake up. Mornings feel less heavy. The day feels like an opportunity instead of a burden. You stop starting the day with complaint and start starting it with purpose. Gratitude doesn't make life perfect. It makes life meaningful. And once gratitude becomes a habit, the heart naturally moves toward the deepest form of peace, surrender. Because when you truly appreciate life, you also trust it. And that leads us to the final realization, the most powerful way to end your day and the most peaceful way to begin your tomorrow. There is a special kind of peace that comes when you stop trying to control tomorrow before it arrives. Most people go to bed planning, worrying, predicting, and replaying, as if the mind must stay alert to protect the future. But the future doesn't need your anxiety. It needs your clarity and trust. Surrendering at night is not a weakness. It is wisdom. When you've done your part during the day, worked sincerely, spoken honestly, tried your best, the most intelligent thing to do is to let go. Holding on mentally does not improve outcomes. It only drains inner energy. The mind often believes that worrying is a form of responsibility. But worry is not responsibility. It is fear disguised as care. True responsibility knows when to act and when to rest. When you consciously surrender before sleep, you send a powerful message to your nervous system. For now, I am safe. This sense of safety allows the body to relax deeply and the mind to release its grip. Surrender doesn't mean you stop striving, it means you stop suffocating. Many people sleep exhausted not because they work too hard, but because they carried tomorrow into tonight. They mentally lived conversations that haven't happened yet. They fought battles that may never come. This mental overwork steals peace from the present moment. Nighttime surrender brings you back to now. A simple inner practice can be transformative. Before sleep, mentally review your day with honesty, not judgment. Acknowledge effort, accept mistakes, appreciate progress, then gently say within, I offer the results. I release the rest. This act creates emotional closure and spiritual trust. In many spiritual traditions, night surrender is considered sacred because sleep itself is an act of faith. Every night, we let go of consciousness and trust that we will wake up. If we can surrender consciousness, why not surrender control? Surrender frees the heart from arrogance and fear. It softens resistance. It invites grace. And grace doesn't mean miracles falling from the sky. It means life unfolding with less friction and more flow. People who practice surrender sleep differently. Their rest is deeper, their dreams calmer, their mornings clearer. They wake up with acceptance instead of urgency. Over time, surrender reshapes character. You become less reactive, more grounded. You stop panicking over uncertainty and start responding with presence. This is the quiet strength of spiritually aligned living. Life was never meant to be carried alone. When you release your grip at night, you make space for intuition, support, and inner guidance to work silently. And here's the paradox. Those who surrender at night often perform better during the day. Because their energy is not scattered by fear. Their actions come from clarity. True success is not controlling outcomes. It is aligning effort with trust. When night after night you practice surrender, fear slowly loosens its hold. Faith strengthens, not blind faith but lived faith. Faith rooted in experience, awareness, and humility. So tonight as you lie down, remember this. You don't need to solve your entire life before sleep. You only need to be sincere with today. The night is not an escape from life, it is a preparation for it. Sleep with gratitude, rest in surrender, and wake up ready, not anxious. Because the future is not built by worried nights, it is built by conscious ones. And that is the timeless truth. When you end your day with awareness, gratitude, and surrender, life begins meeting you with clarity, courage, and quiet confidence. Your night decides your future, not by effort, but by alignment. As you rest tonight, remember this one eternal truth. Life is not changed by how much you chase the future, but by how consciously you live the present when you're honorable. For your nights, you purify your days. When you sleep with gratitude, you wake with strength. When you surrender with faith, fear quietly loses its power. You don't need to control everything. You only need to align your effort with trust. Do your duty sincerely, leave the results gracefully, and let faith do the work your anxiety never could. Because real success is not about winning the world. It is about mastering your inner state. So tonight, choose awareness over distraction. Choose peace over pressure. Choose faith over fear. And walk into tomorrow with this knowing. When your heart is aligned, your actions become powerful. And life naturally begins to cooperate with you. As the day comes to a close and the world outside slowly settles, there is a moment that most people overlook. It is not dramatic. It does not announce itself. Yet it is one of the most decisive moments of your life. It is the moment when you choose how to end your day, not how busy it was, not how successful I looked, but how consciously you release it. Life does not demand perfection from you. It only asks for sincerity. And sincerity begins when you stop pretending, especially with yourself. You don't need to fix your entire future tonight. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to feel confident or fearless. All you need is honesty. Honesty about how you live today. Honesty about where you drifted. Honesty about where you tried, even if you failed. Because growth does not come from judging yourself. It comes from seeing yourself clearly and choosing better, gently. Most people exhaust themselves by trying to become someone else. Peace arrives when you become present with who you already are. When night falls, nature itself teaches us a sacred lesson. Everything rests. The sun does not apologize for setting. The sky does not worry about tomorrow's weather. The trees do not stay awake planning how to grow. They trust the rhythm. And human beings were designed to live if that same rhythm. Effort during the day, surrender at night. But modern life has taught us to fight this design, to stay alert when we should soften, to worry when we should rest, to control when we should trust. That is why so many people feel tired even after sleeping, because rest is not only physical, it is emotional, it is mental, it is spiritual. True rest begins when you stop arguing with reality, when you say, today happened as it happened. I gave what I could, now I release it. This release is not weakness, it is maturity. The strongest people are not those who never fall apart. They are those who know how to put themselves back together quietly, without drama, without self-hate. Faith plays a crucial role here. Faith is not about denying effort. Faith is about trusting that effort is never wasted. Every sincere action plants a seed. Some seeds grow quickly, some grow silently, some grow only after seasons of patience, but no sincere effort is ever lost. When you sleep, with this understanding, something inside you relaxes. The mind stops chasing validation. The heart stops demanding guarantees. You realize that life is not a race to be won, it is a relationship to be nurtured. And like any healthy relationship, it requires trust. Trust that what is meant for you will not miss you. Trust that what leaves you was never meant to stay. Trust that growth sometimes looks like waiting. Trust that silence is also progress. When you carry faith into sleep, you are not escaping responsibility. You are placing it in wiser hands. You are saying, I will act with integrity tomorrow, but tonight I choose peace. This choice has power, because a peaceful mind makes better decisions. A rested heart shows more compassion. A surrendered soul walks with courage. People often think courage means pushing harder, but sometimes courage means letting go. Letting go of comparison, letting go of timelines, letting go of the need to be understood by everyone. When you stop seeking approval from the world, you start hearing guidance from within, and that guidance is always calm. It never rushes you. It never shames you. It never threatens you. It simply nudges. The problem is, many people are too noisy to hear it. That is why night is sacred. Night strips life down to its essentials. No crowds, no performance, no applause, just you and your conscience. And your conscience is not cruel. It is compassionate. It doesn't ask, why are you not perfect? It asks, are you becoming more aware? Awareness is the true measure of growth, not income, not popularity, not productivity alone. Awareness of your thoughts, awareness of your reactions, awareness of how you treat yourself and others. When awareness deepens, life naturally refines. You speak less harshly. You listen more patiently, you choose more wisely, and these choices, repeated daily, shape destiny. Destiny is not written in one bold decision, it is written in small, consistent alignments. How you end your day is one of those alignments. If you end it with resentment, you wake up defensive. If you end it with fear, you wake up anxious. If you end it with gratitude and trust, you wake up grounded. This is not magic, it is inner mechanics. Faith-driven living is not about waiting passively for blessings. It is about acting responsibly and resting responsibly. You do your duty without attachment. You give your best without obsession. You strive without self-destruction. This balance creates dignity, and dignity creates inner stability. A stable person does not panic easily. They adapt, they learn, they endure. Life will still test you. Challenges will still come. Losses may still happen. But you will meet them differently. Not with bitterness, but with depth. Not with fear, but with steadiness. Because faith does not remove storms, it teaches you how to stand in them without breaking. So tonight, instead of reviewing everything that went wrong, ask yourself a better question. What did today teach me? Lessons are hidden everywhere, in mistakes, delays, discomfort, and even disappointment. When you extract the lesson, the pain loses its grip. Then gently remind yourself, I am not behind. I am becoming. Growth is not always visible, but it is always happening when intention is sincere. Sleep with that reassurance. Let tomorrow arrive without forcing it. When you wake up, don't rush to prove your worth. Your worth is already intact. Focus on alignment, not acceleration. Focus on depth, not noise. Focus on presence, not pressure. And walk into the day with humility and courage. Humility to accept what you cannot control, and courage to act where you can. That is the rhythm of a meaningful life. Effort with surrender, discipline with compassion, ambition with awareness. When faith anchors your nights, your days stop feeling like battles and start feeling like journeys. And here is the timeless truth to carry with you. Not just tonight, but always. Life responds not to desperation, but to alignment. Not to anxiety, but to awareness. Not to force, but to faith-filled action. So live consciously, work sincerely, rest deeply, trust quietly. And remember, a peaceful night is not the reward of a perfect life. It is the foundation of a powerful one. Start tonight